Good morning, traders, and welcome to the Bookmap live trading webinar. This is Bruce at Bookmap. We'll be going through live analysis of the markets. We do this Monday, Tuesday, and Friday. It's all based on the educational course that we have on our YouTube Friday. It's all based on and that's all free. The education is the foundation here. Then we have the live analysis here to go through that educational course and really prove it here right in front of you in the live market, and we'll just put it to the test. Then we have also live trading with Jay Trader and Scott Pulcini, a stocks and futures trader, and they go through how they trade the market. So we have the complete package here for your trading to understand and integrate trading within or order flow within your trading style here. So let's go through some of the disclosures, and then let me jump right into the markets here. Okay, so general disclosure: all Bookmap limited materials, information, and presentations are for educational purposes only and should not be considered specific investment advice nor recommendations. The risk disclosure: trading futures, equities, and digital currencies involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Let's jump in here. Let's take a look at these markets and see what's going on. All right, so immediately, well, some interesting stuff in here, guys, right off the bat. Check this out. I really am just rather fascinated by this in Bookmap. I always have been. We had the personal consumption expenditures data here at 8:30. And, this is just how the market works, right? This is a great example of understanding order flow, understanding market mechanics. Now, this is a big move from 37.90 on up to 38.30. That's a 40-point move, right? Within 45 seconds or less than 30 seconds, or about 30 seconds. All right, now that's in the S&P. Okay, why? Why do we get volatility around these events? Well, here's why. It's right here in the chart. It's showing it right in front of us. They're pulling liquidity. You can see right across in here. See how they're pulling right in there? Let me get the pen tool out. All right. See them pulling liquidity in here and in here, right? It's kind of light on this side over here, and it's dark over here. Look at them pull in this area here, also this area here. This is when the data came out, and then we didn't get really much of a reaction until about 5 seconds later, and then you can see them pulling even down in these areas here. Okay, now what the interesting thing about this release is these are scheduled economic releases. Everyone knows about it. So, they're going to start pulling liquidity in advance because no one knows what the number is. And the market is extremely sensitive to personal consumption or CPI data, or, market sentiment, etc. Consumer sentiment at this time. Is related to the central banks and the interest rates and all these other things that the Fed looks at. So traders are watching this data very closely. The fascinating thing on this chart here is typically we see these moves go up into test high liquidity up in here. Now, in this case, we do see that. But look out, a lot of that liquidity, if we zoom in even more in here, a lot of that liquidity was pulled before it even traded up into it. Yet, why did the market stop up here? That's really, really fascinating. So there's some sort of kind of memory here that the traders kind of understand that maybe this is enough of a move. And the liquidity, regardless if it's in here or not, the market stopped up here. It did not trade above this area here at 38.30. Okay, the high was right here. Maybe it got to 38.30. No. The high was here at 28, 38, 28. Okay, on that data. And then, yeah, some really fascinating kind of spoofing in here as well. Look at that. Guys, that's called layering. When you see this kind of, several layers here of liquidity at multiple price levels. And it came in here very quickly and really kind of dissuaded from going higher. So there's a little bit of spoof. There's a little bit of understanding some of the market mechanics in here of potentially why the price didn't go up into maybe 55 up here or 50 up here. Okay, maybe it's not just this liquidity up here and some sort of memory of it. All right, so anyway, some fascinating stuff in price action here right off the bat here at 8:30, and then let's see what's happened after that event. Okay, if we zoom out now. Okay, so anyway, I got some feedback from you guys. It was like a overwhelming feedback that you guys wanted to see more not necessarily sub-second, but smaller time frame structures to understand these markets. Okay, basically we're talking about the market mechanics. What makes this market move? And let me just show you something in here because I think you guys can really utilize this. If you go to our YouTube channel and then you scroll down here and go to our educational course and view the playlist here. This one right here, part 1, we go through these market mechanics in detail. This will lay the foundation for you. So please go and watch this course and you can watch all 4 parts if you like to really start to understand the details in here. And then we're going to go through it in the live market here, like I said. That's our education and the foundation here. Now, based upon that foundation as well, if you want to head on over to our Discord channel, you're going to see multiple streamers in here. Okay, so right now we have, later after this webinar finishes, we have Tom B. He'll be going through volume profile. Then we also have, if you scroll down a little bit further, right after Tom B, we're going to have options with Doug. Okay, and he's just started streaming this week, so he's going over how he reads the market here. He has a particular strategy looking at options data, and then he looks at filtering for that strategy and then picking a few stocks to trade. Okay, it's a fantastic strategy. I think you'd be foolish not to go to some of these events because the quality is very, very high. Now, there's another streamer that we just added in here too called the Algo Boys. It's a father and son team, father and sons team, and they're going through here you can see the chart that they're showing here. They're very interesting. They've come up with their own proprietary strategies for identifying heavy algorithmic activity, and they're just marking it up in the chart. All right, so and there's no kind of like chatting in there or hand waving or anything. They're not presenting. They're just showing their levels where that algorithmic activity is taking place, and that's it. Really high grade professional quality levels in there. So I'm just showing you guys like and going through the education that we have in here in Bookmap, and we're really pleased to offer all this. This is all free. Okay, I don't know anyone else who's doing that kind of quality education that is free. All right, so you can really learn and apply order flow within your trading. Okay, so let's now jump back here. All right, so here's what happened after that event here. You guys can see it here. We chopped around 9:30 cash open though. The bulls came right back in here. Okay, moved to the upside here. We traded into the 50 area here. We did not get up into 55 yet though, or maybe we did. Yeah, we slightly, just up into 55, and that's been the high here so far of this cash session. Okay, so anyway, we've already seen kind of a pullback here as well, but we're still bullish until we see something different. Now, let me get to questions here first, see if anyone has any questions before I dive deeper into this here. Good morning, all. Yes, I do have shortcuts on the drawing tools. I can show you that. Good morning, Austin. Bearish or bullish for the midterm. We'll go through that right now, right? So what is my sentiment in here? And we can jump back and take a look at the let's see, any other questions here? Yeah, I'll get to that in just a second. All right, so let me go through first though the question here on the shortcuts and cover that, because these drawing tools are fantastic. There's these little shortcuts in here that I put in, and let me show you how you can add these in here. Okay, so go to settings here, and then you'll go down to your keyboard shortcuts here. Okay, that opens up this window here. There's all sorts of areas in these folders where you can put those shortcuts. We want to go to toolbar. Okay, and then you can see there's drawing tools here, another folder. So open up that, and then in here, all you have to do, like let's say a line, you want to put in a line. You can put in just a one letter, or just right click in here first and add the shortcut. So let's see, what do I want to say for a line? We can say it's a line segment or something. Yeah, okay, so S, I'll use S. There we go. So now you can see it has S here as the shortcut. Okay, you can right click again in here and then remove that shortcut if you like. All right, so now come back in here. All I have to do is press S and I'll draw my line. Okay, now if you want to get out of, if you come up here, you see how there's a blue outline around the pencil tool, the drawing tool here, and if it means that it's still active, and you can see there's a red rectangle around the window right now. So I know that I'm still in drawing mode, meaning I can draw another line and another and another, right? So I'm still in drawing mode. There's already a built-in shortcut for escaping out of drawing mode. Just hit escape and I'm out, right? So anyway, that's how you do it, Tony, and some good stuff in there. And Genevieve, welcome. And let's get to Austin's question in here about bearish or bullish. And it's helping me out by waiting here. As you can see, the bullish move to the upside here. But I'm not so sure, actually. I'll be real honest. Like we talked about it in this bullish move here to the upside. We saw that this was a buying wick. This is the daily chart over here. Okay, for the S&P E-mini, and we saw this, and then it traded back up here, it traded right back down. Then we saw this candle in here, and then we saw the follow through here. This was looking pretty bullish. I think it was later after this here, we had some gap fills, all sorts of stuff in here on the hourly, and maybe it was on the hourly that we were starting to become very bullish in here. And then we came back up and we saw this candle here. We're looking for it to test up to here, right? 38.18, 16 to 18, somewhere in there. We talked about it many times during the week, Monday and Tuesday. And then we also said, like, look, if they can break out, I'm looking to see for some pullbacks after this 17.18 area up here, thinking that they're not going to break out from that. We're going to get some sellers up here, some profit taking. And we did a little bit here. There's a little bit of a wick on that. But then we broke out. And we mentioned it. Guys, we're not making this stuff up. It's the same thing again and again and again. And I will show you this pattern right here on Bookmap, okay, in the order flow. So this is fractal. You can read order flow on these charts here. There's not a lot of transparency in here though. We're just getting open, high, low, and close of each period, and we have no idea the amount of volume that's trading here. We do have it in the subchart here, but we don't have it on chart. Okay, so this is lacking tremendous transparency in here. All we're doing is getting basically ranges. We're understanding kind of ranges in here, and pressure by the speed or size of the candles in here. So we are looking for a move back up into here, and then also here, and then also here. If they get enough buying pressure, it would be the next swing up here, 39.30 or so, somewhere up in there, right? Because this is where we can see the sellers did come in here, right? There was even a pullback here on that wick, and then a follow through to the downside. So we could still see price come back up into these areas in here if we get enough buyers in here. You can see that we're back and forth in here. There's all sorts of geopolitical or earnings stuff that's going on. You know, there has not been a whole lot of positive earnings in tech this week, and that has really caused some back and forth in here. And yet again, here we are. We're still going up, or we're still kind of testing higher. All right, now again, going back to some of those other Discord channels I was talking about, you might want to tune in with Doug. He's talking about all this call buying that he saw down in here earlier in the week. Oh, I'm sorry, in here, and he was looking for these moves higher. Okay, so like I said, we have multiple educators now. And multiple channels to go in and check out, and it's all for free as well. Anyway, guys, let's continue on. All right, so am I bullish or bearish for the day here? It being Friday, end of the month potentially. I think Monday is the end of the month, right? The 31st. But end of the week here. Yeah, I think we're going to have a pretty choppy day, to be honest. But that's my sentiment for right now. Let's take a look at the hourly here. Still bullish, even though we see this pullback, because this is the strong move here on the hourly chart. And look where the pullback came to, guys. Here's a beautiful flag pattern in here. And I really hate to call these patterns by their names, because this is an order flow event that makes up the pattern, and then someone gave it a name. Who cares about the name? What we want to understand is who's in control in here, and it is clearly buyers. So we see a move up into these previous swings, some profit taking, a slowdown in here, and then buyers come in hand over fist and break above that area here. Now look at the pullback today. Okay, this is where it's just order flow again and again and again. The pullback comes right to where it broke out from here, and we got to bounce off of that on the hourly chart. Okay, so that is bullish. Okay, even though we got the pullback, it is still bullish. Here's the move, and then let's take a look now at the 15-minute chart. Okay, on the right hand side here. Yeah, this is you know, you can see the bullish move here at the 9:45 candle, and the move up into where? Some wicks up in here, right? And what do we see up in here? We see some wicks as well. All right, so there's some profit taking up here, as well as maybe some selling initiating. Maybe also it is you know, just kind of looking for a mean reversion trade back down into some of these levels here, retest some of these levels here. Right now though, yeah, we're still bullish in here. Here's why. We've seen this many times over as well. Although we do have lots of wicks up here, look at the buyer. This candle here is green, and we're still seeing buyers come in here. Okay, that's pretty interesting. So after a lot of selling in here, there's still buying pressure on this you know, 15-minute time period. Okay, so let's jump into Bookmap now, and let's clear our drawings here, and let's take a look here. All right, so we're seeing that bullish pressure come in on that 15-minute chart. Okay, so here we have strong move, another strong move in here, really back and forth in here, and then some selling coming in, driving it down. However, buyers come right back in again. Okay, so now what we're looking for right now in the market, in the order flow, we're looking for buyers, and this looks good right now. Buyers coming in, they're on the bid here, and they're starting to pull on the offer. We're looking for them to trade up into this 52 and our 55 level, which is the high of the day. Okay, so we're already getting a pullback as well. So let's zoom in here. Now, look at them on the bid in here. This is a larger player, one particular larger player, pulling liquidity, adding higher, pulling, adding higher, etc. We're getting buyers in here. Here he is again. He just pulled from here and added up here. Okay, that's bullish as well. So we're still looking for this to go up into 52, and then we're looking for 55. And there it is. Beautiful. Okay, so how would I have managed that? This is happening really quickly, guys, but anyway, based on the order flow in here, looking to get in, looking to take some off at 55, stop at break even, looking forward to see if I can get higher as well. All right, very simple, fast trade there, and that's it. Okay, and if you are trading one contract, well, that's all in and all out. You took yours off at 55 there, and that's it. Okay, so anyway, let's see if we can continue with the momentum up into 60 now, right? That's the next target here. The liquidity is right there at 60. Okay, and there it is. Okay, great. I would be tempted to take everything off here at this time. All right, but let me just take a step back and look here. This was our analysis here on the higher time frame on the 15-minute. Okay, that we had wicks up here, and then this candle was still green and showing more buying pressure up in here. Great. We should, on this 15-minute chart, due to this bullish activity, we should trade up to about here, 65. Okay, maybe we can get up a little higher, like 70 here. All right, some of these wicks up in here. All right, so based on that, well, then I would be moving my stop up, and I'd be looking for 65. Maybe I would front run it here, maybe a little bit in front of it here, 64-ish. Okay, and I would take my profit at that point. All right, my full profit, and there it is. Okay, so yeah, I would be out of this move right now. Okay, so there's a boy, the timing couldn't have been much better. It was a little rush there to go over trade management in here, but there's basically a 15-point S&P move right in front of you from reading the live order flow, and that's exactly what these webinars are all about. Okay, to come in here, to drill down, look at the live analysis in here, and then apply what we've learned from the educational course. Okay, we even, we drilled down from the higher time frames in here, and then we have our reasons now. We had reasons behind this for this to work out. All right, and then and this is my profit target as well. I'm done. All right, I might be not done for the day, but this move is done. I'm looking for the next opportunity. Okay. All right. Any questions on that? Okay, I think that was pretty good drill down and pretty quick. I know, but or brief, I should say. But we had our reasons. We started with a daily chart, and it was started with a question there from Austin, and then we drilled down from the daily to the hourly to the 15-minute, and then we looked at the order flow, and then we're looking for this move to the upside. 15-minute move, we were looking for the move to the upside, and then we saw some beautiful order flow in here. Okay, let me go through it again, because this did unfold really quickly. But guys, this is the same stuff. I mean, how many times, it's got to be repetitive for a lot of you guys that come in here, because we see it again and again, right? The what do we look for, right? You guys probably can tell me. You could run the webinar. Basically, we're looking for the bid to show a lot of interest. Okay, we're looking for a price struck. Well, God, there's a few different things. But first, we know that there's a bullish price structure. Okay, we talked about that on the higher time frame. So we already know that. Then, we look at the structure in here, and there's higher lows in here and higher highs in here. We are looking for more buyers at a higher area in here. Okay, and then we saw this in here. Wow, okay, larger player pulling, adding higher, pulling, adding higher. What's the reaction? We find aggressive buyers, green dots up at these highs in these little areas in here. That's what we want to see. We also want to see them on the offer here at 38.48.5. They're pulling that liquidity away from the market. They do not want to be sellers. That makes it easier for these buyers to lift the offer up into these areas here. Okay, and that's precisely what they did. Right, so at that point, and we saw it even again here at 49.5. This guy again pulled, added higher. Reaction was buyers. Okay, so we're looking for 55. We got it. Take some off. Stops at break even. Would have been somewhere involved in it here, somewhere in here. So let's just call it 49.5, right here. Okay, so there's 55. Take some off. And then we're looking for 60 as our next level here because of the liquidity here. But we took a step back and we looked at the higher time frame here. Okay, so we took a step back, we looked at this, and we thought, maybe 65 might be a little bit better because this is a bullish move. All right, so we took some off here, or basically I would have been exiting the position. Okay, now a lot of times I kick myself for doing stuff like that because look, it's still going higher, and we talked about 70 as well. Right, and that's where it wants to go. Right, but I'll take my profit in here. I'll look for the next opportunity. The next opportunity, well, maybe I'd be getting involved in here, looking for the move up into 65, take some off, and then back up into 70 in here. Stop at break even already. Okay, so yeah, a few different things to consider. All right, so now where are the buyers now? Well, let's take a look. See how that we're getting a lack of buying up here? That's not what we want to see. See how we got sellers here? That's not what we want to see either. Now we might come back up and find buyers and break out. We might find sellers here, and if we do, I'm looking for them to pull it right back down to about 63 and maybe 61.75 here. Okay, so again, we have a little bit of a shift now in the order flow. This is not what we wanted to see for it to continue. All right, so now how might you consider managing something like that? Well, if you got involved in one of these, we talked about it in here. Okay, so let's see. Yeah, we would have been out in here, and then we're looking for the other breakout in here. Take some off at 65, stop at break even. Let's suppose your stop is right here. Well, once I see this in here, I see it starting to unfold. I may exit, and I may even try to take it back down to some of these areas here at 60, 63. Okay, because I see an order flow shift. I'm not sure if I would have or not, but I definitely, we went through it in the live market here. And this is actually something to mention in here. This is a subtle thing, but I think really important. And this may help you guys as well with your trade management, is see how we're able to very clearly read the order flow in here without any sort of bias whatsoever. Why was I able to do that? It's because I didn't have a position. Okay, I wasn't biased in here thinking, well, it might still go higher, well, I don't know, maybe it'll come back up here and we'll get our big buying up here, and I'm kind of hoping for it. But if I don't have that position still on, I'm thinking like, well, this chart's telling me here there's lack of buyers, sellers here, lack of buyers. I'm looking for sellers here. I'm looking for them to pull it down to 63 and then maybe down to, God, I forget what we said here. All right, so maybe 61, I guess, or I know we said 63, and I know we said lower here. I think it was this liquidity here, maybe 62, maybe 60, right? Liquidity, more liquidity down there. Okay, so anyway, because I didn't have any sort of bias up here, and how that can kind of like mess with you, you know, mentally, how that can that bias can blur your vision in here, or your understanding of what the chart is truly telling you, very objectively telling you in here. Is saying that there's not a whole lot of buyers up here, right? So we do look for this. Okay, think about that one, and play around with that idea with your trade management. Maybe you want to get all in and all out in some of these here, because look at this move now, and if you're still in it, you're hurting, right? Or it's your profits are evaporating here. Okay, and it still may go lower, right? We don't know. Now, let's even take a look at that on a bigger picture. That's pretty easy as well. We talked about this area here, precisely 65. Okay, we said 70 is where that wick was. We said precisely 65. Now, we don't know, right? We don't know what's going to happen. This is still a strong move on that 15-minute chart, or even on the hourly chart in here. It's still a strong move. So maybe this is just a pullback, and maybe it continues on up, you know, up into like 38.70 or 6 or 80, or maybe it even comes back up into some of the swing highs up here. 38.95, you know, 3,900. Okay, we don't know. But here we do know. The chart is telling us something. Okay, and we had our reasons also on a higher time frame for looking for this potential move to the downside. All right, and this is played out pretty nicely. All right, so just by reading the charts and reacting to them and understanding the order flow and what the participants, and what I mean by order flow is the participants in the auction. Okay, so the buyers, the sellers, what are they telling us? What is their what are the majority of traders telling us in here through their transactions and through their actions in the order book where they're bidding and offering? That's where we can put the pieces together, and that's where you can get an edge using order flow. Okay, so we can look at our higher time frames, and guys, this will work for anything in here. You look at your higher time frames in here and start to wonder about the order flow on that higher time frame, and then you can look at and pinpoint it in here in Bookmap. Okay, and this is not only for, you know, these advanced education webinars in here, but let's say you're over at Tom B's webinar after this one, and it's a volume profile area. Great. Look for the order flow around it to support it. Okay, or you're over in the Algo Boys room, and they just put in a level for where there's heavy algorithmic activity. Okay, great. Now look at the order flow events around that. All right, to get some insight. Guys, if you like this kind of education, please subscribe to the channel and give us a like in here. It's very helpful for us. We'll continue on with this kind of education. Let's see, Matthew, you got a question here. Okay, you recently added CBD to your chart, but don't understand how to interpret your setup. Buy sell lines. Can you explain this a bit further? Okay, I'm not really sure where to go with that. Okay, I guess what we can do is we're going to go over, and this is based on the education again. Okay, it'll be part 1 of this course right here. Right, this one here. Yeah, so we're going to go over this kind of stuff in here. Okay, then let's understand that on a higher time frame, or I mean, I'm sorry, on a lower time frame. All right, we'll go through it right in here. Okay, so and we'll kind of have to stop this for a second here. So I don't know what's unfolded in the market right at this point. So I do know, look at this strong move in here. Okay, so we know there's a lot of buyers in here. Okay, in this very small time frame. Okay, just from this very small snapshot, which is about 30 seconds or 40 seconds. Here's 10:39 even. Here's 10:39 and 40 seconds. So let's maybe 50 seconds of data altogether. All right. Well, is there any question who is moving this market? No. Where did they go? High liquidity. They traded right into it here. So all this heavy buying found supply up here. Okay, so you can mark that up with your line. Okay, now we get a pullback in here. We get some buyers up in here, not enough to take it higher at this point in this view here. Okay, so up in here, here's a lack of buying in here. Okay, we don't see any buying up here. It's just the best offer came up and tested here. Here's a little bit of buying up here. Here's a retest back up here on this very small time frame, and there's no buying. In fact, this is like a little mini Head and Shoulders right here. Okay, and there was just a little bit of buying on the head. Okay, and then we can see that we see a bit of selling coming in here. Okay, there is no buyers up here. They're selling down here. Okay, so now there was enough sellers in here to drop it a tick. They swept the order book 1 tick. Okay, they hit the bid, took all the liquidity off of this 64.5, and then moved it lower 1 tick. All right, so now we're looking to see what might unfold after that, and we're looking for, if there's sellers and this is a pullback in here, we'd be looking for them to come back into these little areas and pockets in here where we see kind of a breakout, pullback, or large transactions or large liquidity that transacts, and then the market still goes through it though. So this looks pretty good in here. This little ledge in here, because it kind of came up, went sideways for a little bit, and then went again higher. It kind of did the same here as well. Very, very small, but it's there. And then also there's a large transaction here. That's where it pulled back to. Okay, and then we don't see any selling down here. No one's interested in selling here. And it's just going back and forth in here, bashing around. No buyers up in here. And not too many sellers in here. Okay, now in here, and we're going to go forward here from now. So am I answering your question, Matthew? Let's see, you say you don't understand the indicator you have displayed in the bottom. Okay, that's the stops and icebergs indicator. All right. Anyway, let me just finish up on this kind of, since I'm already explaining it. And you can see we're channeling here between high liquidity at 65 up here and then 62 3/4 down here. And the market's just going back and forth. All right, no buyers up here, some sellers down here. All right, so now we're getting even a lower high in here in the structure, and there's no buyers. Okay, now let's just read what are the players in here telling us in here. Well, it's going lower, and we're not finding buyers in here. So on this very small time frame, if we can get more sellers here at 63.5, I would look for them to trade 1 tick lower and then maybe 2 or 3 ticks lower into this liquidity. And maybe if we get a lot of sellers in here, we can come back down into this area or this liquidity down here at like 61 3/4 to 61.5. Okay. we'll need to see. The order flow changes. It's dynamic here. But in this view in here, if we get sellers here, that's where we're looking for it to go. Okay, if we get a lack of sellers in here and we start to get buyers back up here, the secondary scenario, and more likely scenario to be honest, is that we're going to get buyers up here at 64.25. And if we do, then there might be enough buying pressure to trade not only to 64.75 but to 65. Okay, so let's see what unfolded here. Okay, well, you can start, look what happened. We got some down here, and then that secondary scenario, which should be the primary one, because it's the strong move, a pullback, and then another strong impulse move is what we're looking for. They're starting to climb back up here. Now, do they transact up here at 64.25? A little bit. Looking for more. And look at no commitment here. This is a game of chicken right now. Okay. Okay, no buying up here. That's what we got to see, right? We got to see buyers up here. Now this is a quick move back up here, and that's good. Okay, here's a lack of sellers here. Okay, great. Now that looks really good here. Lack of sellers here, and there's some buyers here. Okay, we got to get buyers up here at 64.25. Then our breakout looks pretty good. So let's see, do we get it? Okay, yeah, we got a little bit there, not much, a little bit more, a little bit. All right, looking for, now the best offer went up a tick, but we're looking for buyers up in here, right? We want to see a heavy buying in here, and we're not really getting it. All right, and we're not looking at the order book yet, but we would love to see them add more. Maybe this guy pulls and adds a little bit higher, and maybe this guy pulls and adds higher too at 65. There's some buying right in there. Okay, a little bit of buying right there. 64.5, good. Okay, pulled back. We're back up here. Oh, this looks even better now. Look at that buying in here. That's better. We want to see it actually here though, right? We said originally here is where we want to see it. Now it's a little bit higher. This looks pretty good though. Okay, and I can also see, look at that little bit come in here on the bid in here. Okay, we got some nice pieces in here looking for 65. Boom. Okay, guys, this is a microcosm of what we just went through in reading the order flow here. Okay, and understanding the market mechanics in here, almost tick by tick. Okay, and understanding these areas. Now, it's not micro structural in the sense that we're not sub-second levels here. If you really want to go into sub-second levels, you can. Now we're at sub-second levels, right? This is, underneath, these are milliseconds in here. All right, so that's, the proper definition of it. But anyway, so we got a nice breakout. Okay, so now, obviously some other things shifted and changed in here. These are our pivot points we talk about. It's like this is a trap. And then, sellers down below all of this in here where we were previously looking for sellers before. We got them now. We got a pullback here, looking for more sellers here, take it down to 60. And they could not. Okay, so they just took it down to the swing here. That was it. Okay, and then we're looking, it's pretty powerful here, looking for buyers. We probably tested that 70 level at this point, right? Yep, we got there. And through it. Wow, powerful move, guys. Nice. I can't stand, like, I mean, I love going over this stuff with you guys to go through that microstructural or smaller time frame stuff to explain these things, but I just can't stand missing these, especially in the live market. It just drives me nuts. So anyway, we traded in through 70. Same concepts in here, same ideas. All right, we read also the pullback in here from here onward. Okay, and we said down to potentially down into this kind of 61-ish. We went a little bit lower here, okay, down to about 58.5 or so. All right, so anyway, that's the same process that we went through in here when we were looking for this breakout. okay, on this a little bit higher time frame here. And that move up into 55, same process, guys, no different. Up into 55, and then 60, and then 65, or just shy of 65, and then getting out of the market here. Okay, and then looking for the next opportunity, even potentially shorting it back down onto some of these levels. If I shorted, I would have taken it off here around the 61 in front of that liquidity, and I'd have my reasons because this is where buyers came in. All right, so and we see the move continue here. All right, so and again, back and forth in here, and then you start to see how it builds in here yet again. We get a skew in the order book here. Not really. They're not really on here. They're on the bid a little bit in here. That's starting to look pretty good. Okay, and we're not really quite getting buyers in here yet. Now it's starting to look better. All right, yeah, and there's our breakout right there. Okay, see how you can start to read that. Not too many sellers, buyers come in looking for 70, 71, and then it turned into a pretty powerful move here. Okay, I know that still didn't answer your question, Matthew. Maybe we'll hold off on integrating CVD into this. We can talk about stops and icebergs if you like, but CVD, like, I think it complicates this, to be honest. We're just looking for these three pieces in this context in here for that move higher. But once we put in CVD, we got to look at another thing, and basically we're reading the order flow. We know that this is going to be bullish in the CVD anyway, right? Here, let's just put it on. We know it's going to be bullish because look at the volume look at the dots in here. You don't need CVD. Okay, so and it's just climbing higher here. Okay, we know there's more buyers in here. And then here's that retest to the bottom here, and then buyers back in. This is looking good for trading up into here and here, and then maybe up into higher levels here. All right, so anyway, CVD didn't CVD was just, yeah, it's just climbing here a bit, so this is bullish within this, and basically it worked out, and CVD didn't, there's no divergences in here or any kind of special thing to look at. You're looking for that buying pressure, and then that continuation of the move. All right, so there's a lot of talking. All right, let's take a look at our higher time frame though, okay, because this is getting really interesting now. Not only did it trade into 70, it's up higher. Okay, we know that, but where does it want to go now? In our hourly chart, everything is still bullish in here. So our hourly chart, we're looking for maybe 3890, maybe 3900. Way up here. 3896 is the or 97 is the high up here. Okay, and let's look at Bookmap here. Yeah, so we have a lot of liquidity up here at the figure. Stops and icebergs, Matthew, I guess I'm getting to your question now. Let's go over that. This is showing it's a very special thing. It's a special indicator from Bookmap, and it's not included with Bookmap Global or Global Plus. It's sold separately as an add-on in the Bookmap marketplace. It's called the MBO bundle, market by order bundle. You need to have rhythmic data for it, and it also only works on CME group instruments. It is showing stop transactions as well as iceberg transactions, native CME iceberg transactions. I'm displaying it as a cumulative volume down here, or the delta, So there's more buy icebergs, then it goes flat lines, and there's more buy icebergs in here. Okay. Actually, we've looked at this data for quite a while, and you can get some really powerful moves when you get icebergs going the same direction as the stops. So it just means that there's a lot of larger players using icebergs to get filled in some of these areas, and retail traders are getting stopped out on the upside, basically. Okay, there's a lot to cover in the stops and icebergs, but it's just, again, is one of the beauties of in here with the stops and icebergs indicator is very, very objective data. It's just showing you these transactions. Now, what you can extrapolate from those transactions, though, is pretty unique. That transparency is pretty unbelievable to be able to see not just the order flow here, but the order types that are transacting. So we have the blue line being, larger players. Who else is using iceberg order? And why would you use an iceberg order? Well, because you want to show your, you don't want to show your liquidity in the order book. You don't want to put in your limit order in here. It would scare people away. So you might not get filled. All right, and then the other, the red line here is stops. Well, who's using a stop? Okay, most of us are retail traders, and the reason we're using our stop is because it is the market goes against us. We want to get stopped out and look for the next opportunity. We don't have deep pockets. Here's the larger players with their deep pockets. High liquidity, high liquidity, high liquidity. Right, they're getting filled on the offer. Okay, and they're also using their iceberg orders. Okay, so they're providing liquidity up here, and that's where they're getting filled. And can it run against them? Sure. And do they care? Not really. I mean, I can't speak for them, but they just have deeper pockets to be able to. They're looking on, to getting on, a lot of different size that we can't ever relate to. And the way to do that is through your limit orders at specific areas. They have to kind of like scale in and scale out of positions. So they envy us as resale traders. Is we can just like, oh, I'm going to get out. I'm flat. Oh, I'm going to get back in. Great. I'm long. Whatever. They cannot. Okay. They have to manage these very carefully. It's just too much size. Anyway, let's jump over to Discord here. Sorry, guys. I don't mean to ignore you. Good morning, Lewis, JC. Yeah. Thank God it's Friday, JC. It's been a long week. Some beautiful fall weather here in New York City. Love it. Okay, here's a potential bullish pattern in here. It's not playing out right now. But this is a pretty simple one. Sellers here. It'd be better to see some more buying here. We're getting it now, so we should see this move higher. Okay, so again, look at in this structure in here. Okay, back and forth, sellers in here, sellers in here. We come back up to the top of the range. A little bit of buying. We'd love to see some more buying up here, but then look when we come back and pull back here. No sellers, none, and we're getting buyers back up here. Buyers starting to come in. Great. I would look for them to break this range and come back up into. This looks like a good area to test, and I know it went exactly there, but here's the reason. We always look at these before it even does something like this. This is where the sellers came in and dropped it from this range in here, this range. Okay, so we'd be looking for a test to that range right there. Okay, and that move played out. Now we're getting sellers down here. Now, okay, we got some buyers in here, but look where they came back to, and they couldn't get through this selling in here. So if we get more sellers in here right now, let's see. If we do, we should be able to break down to here, okay, or here. All right, now we're looking for sellers down here though. Okay, well, we're not getting that. And we got the pullback here, and let's see. Nothing. Now we're getting buyers back up here. Okay, a lack of sellers in here, right? A lack of sellers. Okay, so now instead we're getting the opposite here. We're getting our buyers in here. Okay, we get a little bit of a pullback here off of this. This is a harder read than before. If we get buyers in here, we should get into 80. I would love to see the order book though underneath it here. We get a little bit of liquidity in here, not a whole lot, but yeah, basically primary scenarios to look for 80 here. Look in continuation of the bigger trend here. Okay, this is just not giving us all of the pieces though. We did not have that order book really cooperating with us, but here's the move nonetheless, right? And we'll go through that process and we'll read it still, but notice how this is different than what we were looking at earlier. Okay, over in here, and we saw that skew in the order book to help us out, to give us insight. This guy in here, this guy was helping us out, and they're pulling on the offer here, and we're getting buyers. This is where it's looking good, right? This has all the pieces in here. And this one here that just broke out into 80 didn't have all the pieces. Okay, we had this liquidity down here, but that doesn't really, it's not really counting as much. And then here, this is why this can happen here. We're looking for the move to 80. See how the sellers can very, very easily drop price into high liquidity down here, because it's all dark in here. There's not a whole lot of liquidity, so a lot of selling will very quickly move price. And this is almost like like we started off that webinar with the personal consumption expenditures data, and they pulled liquidity, therefore price can move rather quickly. Oh boy, it looks like this move is driven by Apple higher and the assumption that Fed will stop raising rates due to bad pending home sales. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what I kind of feel yet about all of the different fundamentals out there. I mean, it's kind of weird to see this bullish activity even on the daily chart after some of the surprising announcements from Google and some of these other big tech bellwethers. But Apple's doing well. All right, let's take a little bit of a breather and let's look at our bigger picture again here. Anyway, so we read it down in here, right, and these little wicks in here, and we saw that like it had sold off, yet the buyers were coming back in here, and that's when we look for it, right? And then we're looking for up into these areas here, 60, 65-ish. It went through all of that, and it's went up into 80 here. Still bullish. It's still a bullish move altogether. We're getting a bit of a pullback now. All right, well, let's look for a pullback here on where might, if we see sellers coming in now, where might it pull back to? Well, I'd be looking for here 70 as well as our 65 area. Okay, because we know there was it had to trade through that area. There's likely a lot of transactions in here that relate to this here. So I'm looking for sellers to try to drive it back down to that area. All right, so let's take a look at it. So 65, and then we said I could think 60, right? Let's see. Now 65 and 70. Sorry. So 70 is just right here. Okay, and that's where it broke out from here. Okay. So yeah, and there's liquidity on the bid down here as well. Okay, we're down at the bottom of this little range here. Okay, all right, let's see. Do we get sellers here? Yes. Are they pulling liquidity? Yeah. Are they on the offer? Not really, but I do see some sellers here. We get some more in here. All right, then let's see if we can drop it. They can drop it down to this 70 here. Okay, first target. Okay, now see the order flow in here, guys. Give us a thumbs up or a hit the subscribe button if you like this. That's very helpful for us. See the order flow in here, like they're still kind of on the bid in here, kind of adding and pulling, and now they're on the offer here. This is looking much better in here, so we should be able to trade down to 70 now. Okay, because of the orders, and we're getting sellers in here. So let's see if we can drop down to 70 now. Okay, and this is a great area to drop and test right here, because this is where it broke out from. See them on the offer in this picture here in this time frame. That looks pretty good. And the liquidity staying here though at 70. So looking for the sellers to test into 70. Okay, it's kind of like I said, the order flow and the different traders doing different things. It gets convoluted in here. And look at the iceberg buying that's just coming in here. So quite a bit, about 300, 400, 500 in here, iceberg buying. Okay, and the order book's kind of shifting back and forth in here right now. Okay, quite a bit of iceberg buying. Okay, now let's just, this is where it gets kind of a little more convoluted to read for sure. Okay, so, and then just, don't stick to a position. We're looking for this to hold until this structure, this kind of downward structure to hold until it doesn't. And right now, it's not, right? So, if you were involved in this on the downside in here, take your break even stop loss, or a small loss. Don't get run over by this, because this is new order flow coming in here that we didn't see before. Right? We didn't see that happen in here earlier. Okay, we were talking, I think, about around in here for the move back down, bottom of the range, and then 70. Okay, so, and then what happened in here? Well, lots of iceberg buying, still sticking with it until this structure is broken. We come back down, retest, start to see some buying, break that structure, I'm out. Look for the next one. And now that's just a few considerations. These are not trade recommendations. It's just putting these pieces together in the order flow and a bit of trade management. That's all. So this pullback kind of came to a weird area. I was looking for a seller follow through down to 70. Okay, and it just it's kind of in the middle of nowhere here. This is kind of unusual. But a lot of iceberg buying. Thank you, Matt. Thank you for all the education. Finding it very helpful to implement your trading plan. Yeah, Matt, how do you trade? What is your trading plan in general? I mean, if you can just like, maybe I can help you more and go over what it is you're looking for, and then how the order flow can help you. Dollar looking strong again. Okay. Well, if the dollar's looking that correlation, well, let's actually put a correlation on here. God, I had the YM on here that I'm going to get rid of it. I don't really look at it very much. We got our Nasdaq here. And, wow, Nasdaq breaking out. Okay. Well, if this is we'll just use this correlation here. Even though there's a strong dollar, Nasdaq's breaking out, S&P should be following, right? So and it is, and it's just starting to break out. Okay, so looking for S&P to continue basically. That's some pretty strong buying in here, guys. So we would be looking for that to break out. And here we have the opposite here. We were looking for it on the way down in here. High liquidity on the offer, pulling on the bid, sellers hitting the bid down into 70. Then we saw this iceberg buying and then breaking structure. Then we have the opposite in here. They're starting to pull on the offer, add on the bid, and we're getting strong buying. Okay, so then we would be looking for this to test back up into the high of the day here. Okay, and then maybe we can even break higher here. The beauty of this was we also had the Nasdaq following suit. Now the Nasdaq that might be it, like, 500 here, the figure. It's just shy of it here, 11,500. Okay, so Matt, you're using like Tom B and basically volume profile. What's EOM, JW? Okay. Yeah. Well, let's take a look at some order flow around volume profile. Okay, volume profile, you can draw up your levels. Like this is a small little level. Well, we're looking at the Nasdaq now. We'll jump back to the S&P. Well, here's your high volume node down here. Okay, at 77, or one high volume node. Okay, the higher one's way down here, around 48 or so. Oh, end of the month. Okay. Yeah, because there's a whole bunch of stuff going on in the order flow here. This is what end of the week, getting close to end of the month here, and look at all this high liquidity on both sides here. Okay, some game playing back and forth. I was just trying to get to it, Matt, that you look for sellers to trade it back down to here, and then take some off here using your volume profile, right? Your high volume node, and you're not the only guy that's thinking that. You can see that here in the order flow. A lot of high liquidity here at 77.5 just in front of that high volume node there, right? So yeah, take some off, reduce some risk. Okay, it's not a trade recommendation, but it's suggestion here just to manage this, because you have something high probability. If the market's going to give it to you, take it, right? We don't know what's going to happen here. Look at the bid. Look at how strong it is now. We don't know, though. Maybe there's more sellers that are going to come in here and take all of it and sweep it down lower, right? And then maybe we're looking for a bigger, higher time frame move to the low volume node down here at 70, and then maybe even further to that 50 area or 48 area down here, okay, and the session volume profile down here. We don't know. There's some massive squeeze in Apple. All right, thank you. So I don't know, JW, talking about end of month trumps all right now in terms of like people shoring up kind of their positions for the end of the month here. I mean, we have lots of earnings. There's a whole lot of stuff going on in these markets right now. I mean, fundamentally, there's all sorts of stuff geopolitically. There's earnings, and you know, the window dressing kind of end of the month as well. Yeah, I don't know. That's why I really try to, like, I love all the fundamental stuff, but just read the order flow. And the more objective reading the order flow, the better I do. And just read it. Like, we don't know down here. We take some off, and we don't know if it's going to bounce or not. If there's going to be more selling pressure through all this on the bid here, and that's the case. You know, there's more selling pressure. Okay, well then sellers, if there's more seller, we need to see them down here as well. If we get that, then they should be able to trade down to 71 and 70, right? That makes sense. Okay, we need to see those sellers though. Okay, if we don't get that selling right here, bottom of the range, let's just zoom in and go through that example again. We're looking for sellers here. Here, lack of buying, there's sellers. Boom, pulling on the offer, on the bid here. They should be able to trade lower. Okay, now they're pulling again, should be able to trade lower. Okay, now we're seeing a little bit of buying coming in, lack of selling here. See that? Buying coming back in a bit. Okay, can buyers come back in up here? No? All right, so more selling again here. Let's see if we can get it here. Then they should be able to hit into 72.5. Okay. Now, you know, obviously this is a little bit of hindsight. I still like the selling here, but we don't see much here. Okay. And then not a whole bunch of buying up here either. So we're still looking sell side here. Still looking sell side. Okay. So now if we do get buyers back up here though, 74 3/4, likely we're going to trade up to here. Okay, at 75 3/4. Right, I know this is happening very quickly here, but it and kind of happening as we're speaking. Right, but it's still the same thing. And this is no different than we were just looking at those much higher time frames. Now see the 73 and a half in here. No one tangled with it in here. No sellers, not one. Okay, and now we're starting to see buyers trade back up into that 75 3/4. All right, so this order flow just kind of shifted and changed a little bit in here. These are the pieces. These are the pieces to read. They came in here on the bid at a higher level with high liquidity and not one seller into this. No, I take that back. There is one seller into that. Or no, actually, it's not true. It's actually here that they sold. So here, not one into that liquidity. All right, so this had significance, right? That's why we go through it in our education, in our educational course. Again, like these kinds of details in here to understand the market mechanics, it can be applied. Okay, so we're back up here. We found buyers up here. This all unfolded right around in this area in here. Okay, we would look for that move back up here after this and the reaction to this. And now we're finding more buyers here. Okay, back up maybe into 80. So the order flow event is right in here. Now, there's scenarios that can unfold in here like we talk about. What if they did take these guys on in here at 73.5? What if there was tons of sellers in here? And a little bit more down here at 73, it looks pretty good for it to trade down to 70 at that point. We'd look for it, right? Because we know there's selling pressure. They traded into and through, and there's more selling pressure down below. We're looking for the continuation to the next level of liquidity. Okay, and we didn't get any of that in here. We got no sellers in here into this guy, right? Market reads that. Algos read that, and they react to it. We're reading that and reacting to it. And it's just understanding the supply and demand in here and the reaction to it. Oh, okay. I see Apple has been moving here. So that really has been a big driver in here for sure. So how'd that Nasdaq do? It must have traded into that 500, right? No, it didn't. It never did. Okay, looking for it though. Okay, so now again, look at this move here, guys. All right, so here another kind of order flow shift and potential change to break above this area here. Look at the buying. See the shift in the order flow? Sellers back and forth, buyers bounce, buyers again. All right, so now we're back down here at set around this 40 or 470, and we're not looking for sellers here, but we're starting to see some right now. Okay, if we do see those sellers, well, yeah, we'd be looking for them to drop it back down to here around 65, maybe a bit lower, maybe down to the swing then. Okay, so I was just hoping we get a lack of sellers here, buyers again here, and then look for back up to here and then potentially up to 500 again. Okay, first stop would actually be likely here, and we look for liquidity to come in there. All right, let's see. I'm going to put a quick poll in here, guys, on this tech stuff. So hold on just a minute. Oh, I'm sorry, we already got a poll in here. All right, so from the poll here, if you guys haven't voted, get them in. Before we're just about to end it here. So yeah, it was an hour ago we put it in. Big tech has been under some pressure past months. Nasdaq is turning up. Will this rally last? 27% the market is turning bullish. 73% say this is a short squeeze and the rally won't last. All right, well, interesting stuff. Okay, I'm about to end it, so if you guys want to cast your vote in there, one more chance. All right, let's end it here. So there you go. Yeah, we can take a look at Apple as well. It should be flying, but it should be pulling back now, that's for sure. Uh, 3,900 liquidity's been there, all resting there all week. Yeah, will it trade? Let's take a look. I mean, we don't know. This has been very bullish day. Yeah, I'd look for it to continue. But right now, I mean, there's going to be all sorts of kind of back and forth in here. And it's going to be pretty choppy, I imagine. However, it trading back up to 3,900 is not out of the question whatsoever. In fact, I think it would probably be more likely that it would get up there than not. However, you know how it is during especially on Friday. You'll get everyone will start to go, oh, it's going there for sure, it's going there for sure, and then it'll dump down to about here, and then bounce off of somewhere around in here, 38.15 or so, and then come all the way back at the end of the day and trade into 3,900. Something like that. I mean, it's typical to see that kind of stuff especially on Friday. Yeah, I'm really curious to go see Apple, so let's jump over there. That's been pretty bullish. 160, a lot of liquidity up there. 155 and 3/4 right now. What books do you recommend for understanding order flow? I would just say, to be honest, like this kind of material is pretty rare. Just come to these webinars, watch that educational course that's on our YouTube channel, come to our Discord channel. You're going to learn a lot more, I think, there about really market mechanics and order flow and what makes these markets move than you are from some of these books out there. And I hate to plug us like that, but there's reasons for it. One of the big reasons is that these books don't cover this kind of visualization of the market. And to understand these order flow events in here, one of the things about Bookmap that's so great is so visual as like a teaching tool. Here, this is just fact. This is liquidity. What's the reaction to that liquidity? Wow, we found some buyers. Okay, right in here, 72.5. All right, well, can we get a little more buying here at 73? All right, so can we get then here to 74.25? Okay, or maybe top of the range. Well, nope. Sellers want that liquidity now, trading into it. So we're understanding it visually in here, and you're not gonna see that in a book. You're not going to be able to understand this. And then another thing that's really nice in Bookmap is you can go back and replay your data file again and again and watch this unfold again and again. That's going to be really helpful. To really start to understand it, go back again, go forward, play it forward, read it in here. If you didn't get it, go back again, play it forward again, start to understand it. Okay, if all the pieces aren't there, like can you still come up with a read on it and go, yeah, well, we're still finding sellers and they're trading into high liquidity. If you get a lack of buyers up here or in here, and we get more sellers again, they should be able to trade a 71 and 70. you know. And then right now, like we're seeing it, it's really kind of back and forth in this little range here. Okay, so we don't really know. A little bit of buying. Okay, maybe they can squeeze it higher. And go through the same exercise we're going through in here. Here, some exhaustion here, some sellers here. Okay, sellers, let's see a little bit more here, 72.5. Can you get there? No, they couldn't. Okay, more liquidity coming in here. More liquidity. Now this is interesting. See the liquidity coming in at 75 here. Now they're pulling. Now we're getting our sellers. Come on, sellers. All right, sellers, I'd be looking for them to try to drop it down into here, 71. You can see the bid is just kind of lighting up in here though. Even though it's blue, kind of bluish tint in here, it's still lighting up. You can't deny that. And then this guy pulled up here. It's just, yeah, very back and forth in here. Okay, still in this range in here. Okay, buying pressure actually looks pretty good. There we go. Okay, so we were looking to see if we can get our sellers in here in the drop. Well, we got instead the opposite. The bid started to kind of show a little bit of interest, and we got buyers in here. So we did trade back up into this 74 3/4, 75, top of the range. Okay, now, you know, we're at the European close here, so at 11:30, we're getting some back and forth in here. And it does make it harder to read. It's like, you know, bigger players doing different things. So anyway, I hope that answers the question on the books. I haven't found anything that shows what we're going over. And, you know, I learned from one trader in particular that I'm very grateful for. He showed me about a lot of things going on in here. And then that also meshed very nicely with the previous education I already had. So, you know, once I started to understand and digest and it took a little bit, to be honest, like I started to understand and digest what he was talking about. I was then able to see the markets it was a revelation. I saw the markets in a totally different way, really, and man, did that help me. So, you know, to really understand what drives these markets, then to understand, like, for example, a head and shoulders pattern, a double bottom pattern, volume profile patterns. Doesn't matter what pattern. You can look at the order flow within it. It is the order flow that makes up the pattern. Okay, now, you know, if it's fibs, I'm not a believer in the fibs and all the different golden ratio levels and all that kind of stuff. But if you are, you know, fine, just look at the order flow around it. Right now, the volume profile made some pretty good sense to me, to understand that it's made up of the transactions of traders and a lack of transactions, like right here, this kind of finished edge in here. Right, there's not a whole lot of transactions down here. Well, it makes sense then that if you don't get sellers in here, you'll get buyers, then they'll trade it back into where they can transact, which would be up here, 77. You know, now we've got two different volume profiles, which is nice in here. So we can see that there's actually a bit of a skew here. Look at this B-shaped profile here. Okay, well, there's not a whole lot on the session range, SVP, session range volume profile, but on this chart range there is. So I'm still looking to see if we get sellers here. If we can get sellers here, we should be able to break into, well, 70 looks pretty good to test this kind of low volume node in here. Yeah, so looking, let's see if we get them. Looking for them right now, right in here. Looking for our sellers, and then boom, looking for 70. And again, we can look at this in here and say, is this really high probability? Not really. Not really. They're on the bid at the higher level here. They're a bid on the offer here as well. That's not bad, but now they pulled. Okay, so we want to see, we want to see it dark in here, and we want to see them on offer here followed by selling. That's what we want to see for a high probability move. We did see that in the beginning of the webinar. So that's when we're looking for the push upwards. Hit the like button and show Bruce some love. All right, thank you. We got some help in here from the Bookmap side. They put the poll in there for you guys as well. All right, so let's see here. Let's wind it down here. Hold on a minute. Oh, okay. Well, look what happened, guys. We did get down to 70. Now, again, like, you know, wasn't that really high probability? Look what it needed to chew through to get down there, right? This is a lot harder to read this in here. Okay, so it did it, but, you know, look, it just look for something that has all the pieces. Okay, so, and this also tells us something. There's some selling pressure in here. Right, it had to trade into all of this to get down here. All right, so then again, look for more selling right now. And this, see how they're pulling now? Well, let's see then if we can get the move through this and cut through this 70 level and maybe back down to 65 and 60, right? So there you go. There's another reading of the order flow in a kind of secondary way there. Okay, so we're looking for these sellers to come in here and then trade lower. Okay, now, you know, if you didn't have this information, you might not come up to that scenario. You might be thinking, well, I'm just going to buy the low volume node and trade it back to the, you know, 77 high volume node. Well, not if you get sellers here. Okay, if you get sellers here, they're going to whip right through this, and anyone who buys in here is going to get stopped out down into here. Okay, so that's why this is how order flow can help you. Okay, and look for these moves in here. Okay, whereas your volume profile, it's not really helping you there. The order flow certainly is, though. Anyway, guys, let's wrap it up. We'll call it a day. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for coming in, and we will we'll see you on Monday. That'll be Halloween. You know, we're doing a little kind of funny thing on Discord there. If you want to come in and show us your scariest charts, right? Show us what you find very scary here in the market, and I like the concept here. So I'm not sure what I'd put in here as the scariest in today's action. Maybe something like, I don't know, I still kind of like this in here. It's kind of spooky stuff. Truly spooky. Like, why did this stop in here? You know, when they're pulling their liquidity. I mean, that's just weird. Nonetheless, that's what happened, and they came back and went their liquidity again in here, right? So anyway, go figure. So guys, thanks again. Give us the like, hit the like button there, subscribe to the channel. We'll do more of this kind of education for you. and in more and more detail. We went through lots of different things in here. Higher time frames, we're looking for that move to the upside. We look to the order flow in here around this 50 level, 49.50 level, up to about 65, 60, 65. Nice 15-point move. We're still looking then for it to go a bit higher after some pullbacks. And we had our reasons, and then we also had some reasons for some of these pullbacks in here as well. So some good stuff today. Yeah, thank you all, and yeah, happy weekend, everybody. We'll catch up with you guys on Monday. Okay, Tom, stay tuned for Tom B next. Or he's probably already going, so you can join in that. And then following that, right after that, we've got Doug, options with Doug. He's going to go through his options play, and then from God, they were in early. The Algo boys were in early today. They were streaming their significant algorithmic activity levels earlier around 8, I would say. I think they were in. So go check them out as well. Look for order flow events around some of their levels. Some really good stuff, guys. Really happy to bring all these things to you. I think we really have something good, something strong that provides a lot of value for you guys. Okay, have a good weekend, everybody. We'll see you on Monday.